Happy holidays, everyone! What a joy and what a treat to be returning to you all during this merriest of times to bid you hello with some very dark and depressing true crime stories once again, as we continue our investigation into the questions of whether or not the worst monsters are no longer hiding in the dark, but in the light of the technology beaming right into our faces, even during this apparently merriest time of the year. It's been a while since we saw each other last, but the holiday time is my favorite time of the year. So just like Michael Bublé coming out of his cave in the winter, here I am to grace you all once again with some not so fun stories. But I'm glad that at least we get to be here together to hold hands as we dive on in. This case was suggested to me by Pep, a member on our Discord server, who suggested this case to me and said I had to cover it. So here we are. And of course, if you would also like to be a part of our Discord server, of our community with other Bun viewers, then the link's down below. And so let's dive on in. Today we are looking at one of the most notorious murders in all of internet lore, the so-called Nevada-tan murder. In June of 2004, in Japan's Nagasaki prefecture, an 11-year-old girl asked her 12-year-old classmate to accompany her to an empty study room at school to play a game. The older student was named Satomi Mitarai, and the younger became known to the entire world as Girl A because of Japan's laws that protect the identities of minors. That is actually something that I would wholly support in the US and other countries that reveal the names of victims, especially minors. I think sometimes with the kind of media explosion that sometimes takes place around true crime cases and the attention they get, sometimes it might be beneficial to keep these identities private, especially for cases involving minors. And I say this, of course, as I'm here talking about a true crime case on the internet. I am aware of that, but we're going to continue. In the empty room, Girl A told Mitarai to sit down on a chair. Then she slit Mitarai's throat and cut Mitarai's wrists with a box cutter. Girl A returned to her classroom with her clothes smeared in blood. Her appearance caused her teacher to investigate the whereabouts of Mitarai, but the victim had already suffered heart failure from massive blood loss before an ambulance could reach the scene. Girl A cited derogatory messages that Mitarai had written about her on an internet message board as the reason for the crime, saying Mitarai had insulted Girl A about her weight and called her a goody-goody. Now, something we kind of gloss over quickly if you're not familiar with this case is the fact that this is an 11-year-old killer and a 12-year-old victim. You know, murders involving minors do happen often, but you'd be hard-pressed to find as many cases involving prepubescent killers. So I find that particularly shocking about this case. Investigators looked online and were able to piece together.
There's one really famous one from London. I think it's London. Somewhere in England. Of these two kids who were killers. But they killed like a even younger child. They killed like an infant. Sorry, I like choked on a piece of grape. It's just tickling my throat now. Yeah, I can show you guys after. There's videos on it.
They're a disturbing narrative about Girl A, who had a website dedicated to a horror flash game called The Red Room and to the Japanese manga and film Battle Royale, a story about high school kids who kill each other in order to survive a tournament. Investigative sources revealed that Girl A had posted disturbed comments on her website months before the murder, saying she was in despair, that agony dominated her life, and pondering, is there a God? Please help.
Wow.
The sources describe these comments as being disturbed, but they're also, I mean, it's sad if anything, right? I mean, an 11-year-old girl writing these things online. I mean, you only really wish that someone had taken these comments seriously, or if someone, if someone had seen them. But I guess if there's one hope behind these tech crime videos I do, the takeaway, one of them, is that if someone is online, posting things that seem like they're going through a particularly rough time, reach out, help, speak up, do something. Who knows if things could have gone differently if someone had, reached out to Girl A and tried to make a difference. Some say that Girl A had trouble differentiating between the real world and online, and between real life and fiction. Girl A told authorities that she had planned a murder 4 days earlier when she saw someone killed on a television show with a paper cutter. And although Girl A immediately admitted to doing something wrong the day she killed Mitarai, she later did not appear to understand that she had actually ended her classmate's life. According to sources close to the case, Girl A told the family court that she wanted to apologize to Mitarai in person. I mean, that just makes this case even more heartbreaking, right? I mean, yeah, she's a killer, but she's also, I mean, she's an 11-year-old. Her brain hasn't fully developed. She didn't even fully understand that she had, killed someone. And I think it speaks to the importance of having mental health resources available to everyone, especially kids, and speaking as an Asian, as someone who grew up in Asia, I can say that, in Asia, we just don't take mental health as seriously as we should. And, we talk about how in the U.S. we should offer therapy to kids in school, which is an incredible idea. And even the thought of that seems like a struggle to maybe get into place here in the U.S. But I mean, trying to get that in place in Asia seems like, that is a dream. You can't help but wonder how many of these cases that we cover in true crime in general would not have to be covered if, the people involved had access to proper mental health resources and support. I mean, it's just a tragedy all around. Meanwhile, Girl A.
And even homelessness. And drug addiction. Because a lot of homelessness and drug addiction is the common theme in people's backstories is childhood trauma. So if we had the resources and not just like they have, what is it? I forget what it's called. Child something. Where like you can call and they have children removed from their homes and rehomed if the parents aren't fitting. But it's just not, it doesn't have the right type of resources. And like obviously a lot of the times they end up in other homes that are also abusive. And it leads to adults who have a whole bunch of mental health issues that brings them to not being able to get a job, or they have to leave at like 18. And like there are people like right now especially, it's hard to even move out at social services. Well, it's it's specifically for children, but yeah. Yeah. What was I saying? It's difficult even at like age 25 or even like 30 now to move out and be financially stable. So never mind if you had a traumatic upbringing, probably then which led to like negative outcomes in school and education, and then also trying to live out of like on your own at 18. So like, yeah, no wonder homelessness is a problem if we don't have the resources to help people in like awful situations from childhood.
A didn't stay nameless for long. A Japanese TV Fuji news show displayed some of her drawings on the air and inadvertently revealed her signature, which revealed to the entire world her true identity. But because I'm not a goddamn animal, I'm not gonna, reveal her name, and we will be protecting her privacy in this video. Initially, Girl A was sentenced to 2 years of involuntary commitment at a reformatory facility in the Tochigi prefecture. Her stay was extended another 2 years after psychological evaluation. However, she wasn't released entirely from punitive measures until age 20, when she and her family moved to an undisclosed location. This year, Girl A turns 29. But here's where the internet's sick obsession with true crime really takes a hold of this case and is a part of why we're highlighting it in this series of sorts. Although Girl A's punishment and rehabilitation followed a traditional path, her image has been immortalized online, making her a cult icon and widely shared internet meme known as Nevada-tan. The name derives from the University of Nevada hooded...
Shit's so expensive nowadays as well, and income hasn't increased either. Exactly. So, the combination of trauma, poor education because of dealing with issues at home and not having the time and the stable place to live and work to save up. Like, it's impossible. You end up in, like, either succumbing to mental health and shit goes down like this story, or like you end up with the wrong types of people, end up, if not on drugs yourself, involved with people who are in drugs. Like, it just spirals because we don't have the help to help people at the beginning, and we especially don't have the stuff to help people further along. And it's really hard to expect people to just pick up their life at age like 30 when not being able to deal with anything.
Sweatshirt that girl A wore when she committed
There's
the
no
crime,
foundation.
and tan is a childish twist on chan, a Japanese term of endearment. The image of girl A in the hooded sweatshirt was originally circulated in a school photo taken the same day as the murder. Also, a picture of girl A in the bloody sweatshirt was captured by a fellow student directly after the murder. Although the original photo was seized by the police, it wasn't long before someone recreated the photo and then circulated it online as if it were the original. These images helped birth the illustrated meme of a Japanese girl wearing a bloodied Nevada sweatshirt.
But they don't really teach you in school how to prevent or get yourself out of those situations. Yeah. We don't. You have to search for the social programs that do exist. And even the ones that do exist aren't that great. Like, you look at how many homeless people don't want to go to shelters because they're either like they're not able to use the drugs that they at that point rely on and would go into severe withdrawals if they had to cut it completely in order to live somewhere. Or there's just like cycles of abuse within those situations, and you just end up in the same shit. It's really difficult once you're in already a negative situation and you don't have a foundation to build up. It's crazy. All they taught us in school is like, drugs are bad. Don't do drugs. And they don't teach you what to do if your friend is overdosing in front of you. Or like shit like that. It's crazy. We have shelters are often most horrible and violent places imaginable. Yes. Outside might be much safer in comparison. Yeah. Which is why a lot of like homeless people refuse that type of help. And why if you see a homeless person or you see a homeless encampment, to not call like the social services unless it seems like their life is in danger. Life's hard enough as it is when I can live at home and make money. Can't imagine trying to get out of poverty with a drug addiction. Yeah. It irks me so much when people like blame those people because it's most likely that they never had a good situation to begin with. They don't refuse help per se. During the early stages of pandemic, some countries, cities got them hotel rooms that was widely accepted. Yeah, and I'm sure there were still few that decided not to. Whether it's because they don't trust it or because of the conditions in place or even feeling like it wouldn't, I don't know. Like they have their community, right? Once you have an addiction, you're left on your own to figure it out in most cases, yep. Which is why some of the best help is clean injection sites. so that they can get access to clean needles, so they're not reusing needles, which is dangerous and leads to more things like hepatitis. And yeah, so in Vancouver there were free clinics to give addicts safe lower doses. Yeah, those are the type of programs that you need in place. But you also, it's hard. It's hard to rehabilitate people who have been through it their entire life, which is why on top of providing these services, you need to get to the root, and that is providing childhood therapy. Like it really needs to be dealt with. Like if a student is not doing well in school, like it should be a red flag. And it may not necessarily mean that they're in a rough situation, but anything is enough to be like, hey, things good. It's hard though. It's a complicated situation. Because then, it's hard to get them to trust you as well. So. And meanwhile, the school systems are getting less and less funding, which means the students have less access to recreational stuff at school, like after school, like clubs and shit, like stuff that would provide them with community outside of their home so that they have a place that's safe. Especially when you see them in class and can tell they are not present or very lonesome. Yeah. Even myself, I'll get serious. Even myself, I had a perfect family situation, luckily. But I was still hella depressed in high school. And I could have used the help. And it just wasn't a thing. Unless I specifically reached out for something, I didn't even know what was in place. I knew we had guidance counselors, but I didn't really, I just assumed they were to, help you with your, school plans, your, life plans. That's the only time I talked to them. And it's not until, you become a concerning student where they, start to be like, hey, can you talk to, it needs to be known. Opposite is also true. I've worked with teenagers in school. Doing great in school absolutely does not mean everything. Yeah, for sure. That's just one of many, many red flags. Even shit like not eating during lunch. That would have been my red flag. I used to not eat lunch, at least not in the cafeteria. I used to, I think in grade 9, there were a couple times where I did the cliche TV show thing and I ate in the bathroom. Guidance was not great. No, TBH, yeah. See, I didn't even know. I didn't even know what was available, never mind, the quality of it. Didn't help that my mom taught at the school, so, anything that I told anyone would get relayed. So, yeah, I had a hard time during high school. It fucked me up. There's still shit that, I am unlearning. She did. She still works there. But I'm just gonna heads up. That's the furthest I'm gonna go with any type of close to a name of high school or city of living. Just I try not to say it. The other problem, some students just need space and any moment help might be. Yeah, so they need to. Yeah, so there needs to be. Oh no, it's all good. Just a heads up. There needs to be a balance. And students need to know what resources are available. And teachers need to be able to spot red flags and to maybe push it a little more just to see if they can make it a little bit, but obviously read the cues, you know? And there also should be a certain point, like obviously if you see bruises on someone, like injuries, then that should be like, you need to take the adult position there, and sometimes you need to force some sort of conversation or like not leadership, but counseling, something. Also, like at that point, like it's Child Protective Services. There we go. That needs to be better, because right now it's not good. And it doesn't help the people who it's called on for very much at all. Sorry, I like burped. I'm sorry if that was that made too much noise. It needs to be better, because right now it's kind of like the only thing I ever hear about it is like the indigenous population. It's basically just a way to take children away from their families as well. And it's hard, because that's also a community that has been suffering through a lot of intergenerational trauma, which means that there is cycles of abuse. So it needs to be a collaborative effort. Like, you need to provide the parents with therapy. Like, it needs to be more accessible. Because no one, like, tells you what the options are until you're actively seeking out the options. So much pressure put on by teachers and adults to figure out what we have to do for the rest of our lives. As a career, I think that's getting better. Drive students into the wrong paths of life, depression, etc. Yeah, that wasn't necessarily it for me, but I think that some people, especially people who are high achievers or got really high grades when they were younger, they feel that a lot. I was never a really great student. So it wasn't too surprising when I would like start getting like C's and shit, and I didn't really feel necessarily that much pressure. Luckily, that's also part of like, it's a privilege thing for me because I don't have that pressure from my parents. But yeah, it definitely, options need to be expressed more. And the option of just working like a retail or something job and sticking to it and maybe getting a couple of raises is like good enough. At least until you figure out what you want to do. Something that can, that can afford you to live a better life. But, yep. Doesn't help that you can't get a job that pays you more than $15 an hour without some type of education plus experience. I still see jobs. I went to school for accounting and finance. I am job searching right now. I still see jobs that are like, we want you to have your college diploma and 1 year experience, and the wage is $15 to $19 an hour. That's stupid. That's insane. Literal scams, yeah. It's dumb. I also see, like, internships, and this is especially true in the media industry. In the media industry, it's some other bullshit. Like, that is way farther, like, super, like, that's fucked up. That industry. Saw one for 3 years experience for entry level at minimum wage. Yeah, it's stupid. It's especially bad on LinkedIn. All of them are marked entry level, regardless. It could be like 5 years experience, entry level. It's fucked up. Yeah, media is really, really bad and exploitive. Especially, obviously, with internships. They don't pay internships. They never do. Accounting is better. They, for the most part, pay internships. But I did see one that was like, possible compensation. I was like, fuck you. I was working on Big Brother Canada. I was told over half of Big Brother UK was unpaid interns. Yeah, it's fucked up. Even the job that I worked at a mortgage brokerage as their, I was supposed to be their graphic design intern. They didn't have a marketing department. So guess what? My $9 an hour paid ass was their entire marketing department, as well as an assistant. I had 3 bosses, all of which had different opinions, and I couldn't post anything until it was approved by all 3. I didn't get anything done in that job. Obviously. For $9 an hour, yes. And this was 2017. So minimum wage was $14 an hour. I had a mental breakdown. My anxiety became severe. I went to the doctor. I was on antidepressants for my anxiety. And also doing cognitive therapy on over the phone. Shit fucked me up, and I left the industry. I was like, I am not doing this at all. So I went back to school, and that's why I did accounting and finance, because this, at least they'll pay me minimum wage. I hate that that's the bar. And there's also set there's one way there's one right answer with math. You can get there multiple ways, but there's one right answer. It's crazy because you're probably just that yes and also no. Yes, because I was doing everything, Facebook marketing, Instagram graphics. I was building a design for their website. I was doing their graphic design for their business cards. I was printing shit out for the person that was making phone calls or plans. I was ordering Subway for the meetings. And then also at the same time, I was not doing anything because I couldn't, they would ask for something and I would be like, okay, so I would do it, and then I would bring it to the next person and they would be like, I don't like this. That's it. No constructive criticism or anything. So by the end, they brought me into a meeting room. They're like, we want to see what you've done, what you've been doing, because we notice you haven't been posting on Instagram. I was like, yeah, because I can't get things approved. And they're like, that's not a good excuse. You need to come talk to us. I'm like, you're all fucking busy. But anyways, I didn't say that, but you're all very busy. And then I showed them what I did. And then one would be like, I like it. I like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I like it. I like it. It was crazy. I used to cry every day on the drive home from work. It was fucked up. And I'm already an anxious person. So the idea of going up to someone when they're busy with something and having to bother them to ask for approval for something, already stressed me out. So having to do that with 3 separate people, having not being able to please them all ever, that drove me way past the edge. Yeah, it was crazy. It was rough. Luckily it ended on like good terms, kind of. Like, it was like, yeah, I was like, it's not working out for me, and they're like, yeah, I don't think it's working out for us either. And luckily the person I was working with, like the one person, was very, very nice. She was just also stressed out into the edge because she was also being spread too thin. She also left there eventually, not long after. But I don't work there anymore. Yeah, me too. Also, like, okay, I don't, like, a lot, okay, I'm not gonna generalize all real estate people, but a lot of real estate people are intolerable. It feels like working with, this, like, TikTok influencers. That's what it feels like. They feel like TikTok influencers. Can't wait to try buy a house or something. Yep. I'm like, can I just not? Like, can I buy a house, like, under the table? Sister and stepmom work real estate, and they tell me stories about how terrible people are. Yeah, because it's a popularity contest. Even the people I was working for, it was like, even like the real estate, like, companies, it feels like a multi-level marketing scheme. Like, it's just like, okay, so you work under, like, you have your own subsection of this real estate company, and then you try and hire on real estate agents. But what they try and do is they try to convince people to go into real estate and, like, I guess, buy into being part of the company so that they can have their own office or whatever, and the services, they pin each other against each other as well. Yeah, it seems very competitive. It's crazy. And a side note, one of the people I work for loved to continue in 2017 would still use gay as, like, a negative term. I was, like, standing there like, you realize I have red hair, right? You realize, like, saying that in front of me, like, I'm not going to like you. Anyways, we got really sidetracked, but I like it. I like the conversation. Okay, let's hop back into this.
A sharp weapon, which was regularly shared on Japan's 2chan website, as well as its English counterpart, 4chan. Our old friend 4chan. Always getting involved. The meme often evokes the moe style of Japanese
it's a good
art,
combo,
highlighting youth and innocence,
I love having conversations
with the bloodied clothes and weapon. Fan art of Girl A has been shared across the world, which has helped spread the influence of this gruesome crime well beyond message boards. For example, a German rock band actually named itself Nevada Tan, while another band called Fecal Matter Discorporated dedicated their album to Girl A.
What?
While another band
fecal matter discorporated. All right.
Called Fecal Matter Discorporated dedicated their album to Girl A and all little Japanese girls who murder people. A lot to unpack there.
Worst I've seen is in investment banking. On my campus, you would regularly see their interns, trainees being sent there to talk to other students into investing and taking a loan. Yeah. Yeah. even that, even like the whole investment thing, even like, well, the more obvious example is like shit like NFTs. And I'm not gonna pretend to know everything about NFTs, but it's sketchy. I saw someone comparing it to, you know, those companies that let you buy a star and name a star. It's like that. And it's like you own the star and you have its name and you have like a certificate, and then the company goes out of business. And suddenly you don't own a star anymore because, like, who keeps track of that? The company went out of business. NFT? Yeah, emotes are NFTs now. That's some cheap ass NFTs. $5 for all my emotes. What's that? 3? Yeah. 3. He said you never owned a star. Exactly. Exactly. That's what an NFT is. Peanut Butter Gamer was just saying on his stream someone sold an NFT of one of his videos somehow. It's fucking weird. Imagine buying something and then you click to go to where you to show someone it, and it's just like page not found. 404. Page not found.
Firstly, Fecal Matter Discorporated, what a name. But then on top of that, dedicating their album to Girl A and all little Japanese girls who murder people.
They seem really dumb to me, to be honest. Yeah, it's like one of those things. I apologize to this guy for that pause. It's just that we have so much things already. It's called money. I mean, it's more complicated, obviously, if enough people ascribe it some worth, then our economy is worth something. Yeah, but also it's like, I think it's mostly for money laundering. Yeah, the issue is it's supposed to be something that's like unregulated. They can't control our money. Don't give your money to the banks. If you're investing, you're like yeah, and it's like, you know, if it becomes like an actual like currency, like, this would be more for crypto and not for NFTs. NFTs, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like owning a piece of art that you're trying to sell for higher than it's worth. And then what? It's supposed to just like circulate and through rich people after that? Like, I don't know. But rich people collect art so that they can get it appraised for a higher value than it's worth, so that they can donate it and write it off on their taxes. Isn't that cool? What was I saying? Oh, if crypto becomes an actual form of currency, it's gonna get regulated. So like, we're back where we were. Except, like, I guess it doesn't, you don't have to deal with, it's more worldwide. So you have to deal with, what do you call that? When you change one currency to the other. Already is, isn't it? I don't know how much it's regulated. Not yet regulated, yeah. Exchange, yes. So it could prevent that. I think that could be cool. I just think, like, it's currently sketchy. I feel like once it kind of, and you can invest in it, you can try and figure it out. Personally, I don't, because I'm really safe with my money because I'm not currently making money, really. I just don't have the excess cash to be putting around. I think eventually maybe some of them would become popular enough. Enforcement can be a problem, but if you make money selling your Bitcoin, it's going to be taxed and shit, yeah. Once you put it back into your bank account, yeah. Although, like, again, once it's regulated, it will be... Like, if it starts being used as currency, like, you can buy... I know some places accept crypto, but once it's more, like, universal, it'll be taxed on your gains. Or, like, when you use it. But yeah, I think some of the coins may have potential. Obviously, they have to deal with the whole environmental factors. Because it's just not efficient. And is causing a lot of other issues, like chip shortages. Athletes are now taking Bitcoin as part of their salary. Yeah, that's a problem for taxes, but anyways. But trust me, like, the whole it's unregulated thing, though, is gonna die off. And it's going to depend on what coin you invest in. And I think only a few of them are going to survive. Saw a podcast episode recently about some of the history of crypto. It's quite astonishing how many of the early crypto guys are in prison now. I love that. Early on, it was used to scam people. It's still used to scam people. Yeah. It's just not all of it, but it's a thing. I don't know. I feel like in the future, it'll just be something that you can exchange your money into. And, like, invest a little bit. And then also use it to buy things, like, foreign. Where you don't have to further exchange. Engineer! Hello, welcome. We're just talking about everything right now. We're watching this video about an 11-year-old who killed their schoolmate. And then we just started talking about NFTs and crypto. Which I don't say that I know anything about. But we're just discussing it. I don't hate it, I don't love it. I don't personally invest in it. I don't have exposable income. Or disposable income. Wow, very smart. Can you tell I graduated from accounting and finance?
The word that comes to mind. I mean, a part of me is just probably assuming they're trying to be edgy and cool, but fine line there. But we've covered several of these cases now, and it seems like so many of these killers become like these cult heroes in their own right. I'm certainly not.
Don't expose your income in public. I don't make money right now, so I mean. It's hard to expose my income when I don't have any. Wording is hard. Yeah, I invest in NFTs. I see. I'm not personally interested in investing in NFTs. Even if I had the financial capability. Student life. I'm not a student anymore. I graduated. Looking for work life. Personally, with NFTs, I feel like more people are going to get screwed than people are going to, like, benefit a lot off of it.
well versed enough in psychology or sociology or anthropology or any sort of apology to understand why people latch on to these killers and like idolize them. And we covered the video about Elliot Rodger, who committed the horrible Isla Vista killings. It just blows my mind that somehow people.
And then you went back. I did 3 years of school. I got my television broadcasting advanced diploma. And then it took a couple of years to try and work. And I was like, fuck this shit, I'm out. And then I took accounting and finance. Did that for 3 years. And now I graduated again. So I have 2 advanced diplomas. 1 in television broadcasting. 1 in accounting and finance. Completely unrelated. But here we are.
People worship these killers, and a part of me is wondering if, like in the case of this fecal matter discorporated, are people just trying to be cool and edgy and different, or
TV finance guru?
I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments can explain this to me, because me and my Santa hat are just ready to explode right now. Girl A's image became so popular that the University of Nevada said that in the months after the murder, the primary staple of the girl's outfit became their most popular item. In fact, the university eventually removed the item from the catalog because people were using it for distasteful cosplay. This is why we can't have nice sweatshirts.
Hawk diploma? Oh. You mean Mohawk? Collects does also, yeah. I don't even know where mine is. 3D animation diploma in work and marketing. Useful knowledge, I think, still. They're just transferable things. But I don't even know where my diploma is. My other one is like somewhere in the mail. It's coming. Like no one asked for it.
There isn't a lot of information online about why exactly so many people have been drawn to Girl A's image, so we are left to speculate. Perhaps it was the startling brutality of a crime committed by someone so young. Maybe it was the digital.
My Mohawk one is public pretty much because I have YouTube videos. One of my most popular YouTube videos is my first year experience at Mohawk.
Lore behind the crime with cruel internet comments and Girl A's.
But because I don't go there anymore and I don't live in the city anymore, I don't mind.
Website acting as precursors to a real-world murder. It's possible that people who share the Nevada Ton meme believe that Girl A herself, at that age, would have embraced the iconography as fitting right in with her personal interests. Or maybe it's just that the image suggests the exact moment of one's loss of innocence, something the internet itself has been accused of ripping away from children.
Completely fair.
That's a good
I just
line.
was confused with what you meant for a second.
Who wrote the script for me.
I realized too late.
One thing's for sure. Kids can certainly benefit from a clear delineation between real life and entertainment, and between a consequence-free message board and a classroom where your actions could change lives forever. Nevada Ton isn't something to be celebrated. It's something to be mourned.
That get redacted.
Let's hope they take it not as inspiration, but instead as one of the internet's most tragic cautionary tales. I mean, I don't think I even need to really explain why this case is a perfect fit for our investigation into whether or not the worst monsters are hiding in the technology beaming into our faces, because I mean, this whole case embodies the very thesis of our investigations. But the thing is that's tough is like we're talking about monsters, but is an 11-year-old, can you describe an 11-year-old as a monster? Yes, she horrifically, brutally killed someone. To what degree was she actually like aware of her actions? Are the real monsters in this case those that glamorize her? You know, the adults that do so online?
I say depending on the success of the rehabilitation, the people who idolize the kid are worse.